All right, listen up. Because Trump's approval rating ain't tanking just because of those damn Democrats he pissed off years ago, or those independents who are seeing their wallets shrink. Nah, it's those MAGA diehards, his own damn crew, who are finally realizing he's been playing them like a damn fiddle. He's basically given them the middle finger and tossed all those empty promises out the window like yesterday's trash. This whole administration, a damn circus of incompetence, corruption, and pure, unadulterated chaos. And that chaos? It exploded last night with some batshit crazy post Trump threw up, a post that's got his own MAGA folks saying, "Screw this, I'm out." We're gonna dig into this whole mess, but first, hit that like button. And if you ain't already, subscribe, because it helps us keep this damn show going. Now, the real reason MAGA's spitting nails at Trump ain't just the words he spewed, it's what those words mean when you look at his own damn hypocrisy. And to get this straight, we gotta look at this clip right here.
Have you watched any of the Olympics?
I thought that the opening ceremony was a disgrace, actually. I thought it was a disgrace.
The mocking of the Last Supper.
I thought it was
Catholics and Christians across
I thought it
across
was
the globe are outraged.
I mean, they can do certain things. I thought it was terrible.
Can you say at the next Olympics, if you're present, there won't be, you'll have enough influence on the organizers that we won't be, insulting Christians?
We won't be having a Last Supper as portrayed the way they portrayed it the other night. I just think, look, I'm for everybody. I'm very open-minded. You understand.
Yeah.
You know me better than most people know me. I'm very open-minded. But I thought what they did was a disgrace.
All right, you guys gotta remember last year at those damn Olympics, right? Trump and the whole Republican crew were losing their minds, screaming about how the opening ceremony was a full-on assault on Christians. They were all so disrespectful. Like, nothing, absolutely nothing could top the horror of that Olympic opening ceremony, which, let's be real, you probably don't even remember because it was just a regular-ass show. But those Republicans, man, they love playing the damn victim. They love to throw a fit. They love to pretend there's some kind of war on these Western values they keep yapping about, which is a load of complete and utter BS. And Trump, of course, hopped right on that bandwagon, claiming he was so offended as a Christian, which, come on, we all know that's a damn joke. And that whole act of his, it was on full display in the crazy-ass post he made. But before we get to that mess, we gotta talk about these Christian values Trump pretends to have, the ones that badass bishop called him out on. She had a whole lot to say in that Rachel Maddow interview, and it explains exactly why Trump posted that garbage.
But I wanted to ask about the broader question of the role of the church right now in moral leadership in this moment. We have seen the Catholic Church, the Episcopal Church, elements of the Lutheran Church, other congregations all over the country, very diverse types of churches, offer themselves, for example, as sanctuaries for people who are facing deportation. What do you see as the role of the church in helping lead the public and helping us understand what our moral responsibilities are right now?
Right. That's a great question. I would say the first and primary role that we have is by example, to take the teachings of our faith, to welcome the stranger, to love as we've been loved, to be compassionate, and to live that out in real terms with real people in our communities. So that's foundational. And then, when given the opportunity to speak and to be at times a conscience, at other times a consolation, to be present, ministering or pastoring the common good. And so it takes many forms. It depends on the moment. We're in a particularly harsh moment now when it comes to conversations around immigrant populations in our midst. And so that was the reason for the tone I took now. But it could have been a very different tone in a different context, depending on how compassion needs to be manifest in a given time.
Look, let's be real. Donald Trump ain't got a damn ounce of those values he keeps yapping about. I don't get why MAGA's been living in this damn fantasy world for so long. Believing this guy who's selling them Chinese Bibles, this dude with 3 wives he cheated on, this liar and thief, is some kind of perfect example of Christian values. It's freaking insane. Maybe that's how the evangelical right rolls, but it's still damn crazy. And get this, it gets even worse. Trump, in his infinite wisdom, posted a picture of himself as the damn Pope. Yeah, that's right, the Pope. This sick joke he keeps pushing. And his own damn supporters? They ain't happy. The replies were a damn mess. If you were as religious as you claim, you wouldn't have posted this. It's insulting. I'm a Catholic and this ain't funny. This is sacrilegious. You messed up big time. Why are you fueling the fake news fires? The first comment really hit the nail on the head. Whoever made this post should be ashamed. They're blaming someone else, even though Trump himself posted it. That's MAGA for you. Trump could kick a puppy, and they'd blame whoever made him do it. And yeah, there were tons of pissed off comments. I didn't even read them all. Trump shocking no one. Doesn't give a damn about faith. Never has, never will. But this Pope thing ain't the only reason his base is turning on him. Republicans in Congress are finally speaking out against his insane tariffs. Some are even growing a pair and criticizing his Putin love affair. We've got Republican governors getting screwed on FEMA funding because Trump's using it for golf trips. And even his own judges, the ones he appointed, and other Republican-appointed judges, are shooting down his attacks on the Constitution. MSNBC broke it all down.
This week, a federal judge struck down Donald Trump's attempt to use the Alien Enemies Act to enact his mass deportations. It's a major blow to his efforts. It remains to be seen if the Trump administration will comply. Also this week, Columbia graduate student Mohsen Madawi was released on bail after being detained under equally dubious national security claims. And let's not forget Trump's beautiful tariffs overnight. One of his biggest sets of tariffs took effect, driving up prices on millions of goods. Michelle Hall, a Trump voter from Snohomish, Washington, tells the New York Times, quote, "Citizens are suffering. I wanted to have faith. I don't have that faith anymore." What do all these stories have in common? The arbitrary deportation sweeping up toddlers and legal residents alike, the crackdown on college students, the brutal tariffs hammering working families. In every case, Trump is doing these things not through the normal democratic process, but by invoking emergency powers. Not because of any clear and present danger, not because we're being invaded or attacked by college students or by Canada, but because declaring a national emergency or citing imminent national security concerns lets you do something unique in the American political system. It lets you bypass Congress. It sidesteps oversight. It gets you what you want, fast. For those tariffs, Trump claimed a, quote, unusual and extraordinary threat, end quote, from our trade deficit. But that's a complete distortion of the concept. It's normal for a country to run trade deficits with some partners and surpluses with others. It's not an indication of a failing economy. In fact, it's not an indication of anything, really. Nobel Prize-winning economist Robert Solow once explained the absurdity of this thinking using his barber as an example. He said, a chronic trade deficit with his barber who doesn't buy a damn thing from me. But of course, that doesn't mean his barber is taking advantage of him. The same logic applies to global trade. We export what we make well or have a surplus of, planes, fuel, agriculture. We import what others can make cheaper, like clothing. That's just how trade works. And Trump's math leaves out services altogether because we are the world's leading exporter of services. We run surpluses in industries like education, in entertainment, in finance. Okay, that's trade. No national emergency there. How about mass deportations? The president reached for a centuries-old wartime law meant for literal invasions by literal enemies of war and used it on asylum-seeking families. It's legally unsound, and this is important. None of this business of ignoring Congress and expanding executive powers started with Trump. Presidents of both parties have pushed the boundaries of executive power. George W. Bush gave us Guantanamo, where men were held for decades with no charges. Can't do that under the law in America. President Barack Obama expanded a drone war that operated in the shadows, often killing civilians outside of any declared battlefield. And let's be honest, when it's our guy in the White House, we often look the other way. Not because we're bad people, but because we trust him. He's on our side. We assume he's doing the right thing for the right reasons, even if that thing neither follows the letter nor the spirit of the law. We assume that power in the hands of someone we voted for will be used responsibly. But here's the danger. Every time we let our guy bend the rules, we make it easier for the next one to break them. Every inch one president takes becomes a mile for the president who comes next. And if that person who comes next is a would-be authoritarian, those powers don't just get stretched, they get weaponized. In Trump's case, the arbitrary emergency decrees mark a dangerous escalation, implementing them not as a last resort, but as a default primary tactic to force through anti-democratic measures. As my next guest who wrote a book on this puts it, quote, Nixon has been the poster child for abuse of power, but it was probably Trump who has been the most willing to ignore established norms of presidential practice. The lesson of history is that presidents of all political persuasions have been aggressive in their use of powers in pursuit of what they consider the national interest. Sometimes that's been for good ends, sometimes not. But if constitutional rules are going to have any meaning, they have to mean the same thing whether we love or hate a particular president. Whatever powers you give to one group of presidents, say Biden and Obama, you're also giving to another, say Bush and Trump, end quote. What makes Trump different isn't just the abuse of power, it's who he targets. It's fellow allies, Canada, Mexico, Greenland. And increasingly, the targets are domestic. It's college students, journalists, critics, law firms, asylum seekers. The enemies are now us. Just this week, Trump said during a cabinet meeting that he's talking to some of his cabinet secretaries about invoking the Insurrection Act, a move that would allow him to deploy the military on American soil. U.S. law generally prohibits the use of military, federalized military, for domestic law enforcement. But the Insurrection Act creates an exception during, you guessed it, a national emergency.
Donald Trump? He's taking a beating every single damn day. And listen up. If we keep this public pressure cranked up, we're going to see more institutions like Harvard finally grow a spine and tell Trump to shove it. We might even see the corporate media decide it's better to stand with us, the ones fighting back, instead of bending the damn knee to this administration. That's the power we got, and we damn well need to use it. That's why this show ain't backing down. We're going to call out the Trump administration every single damn day. And if you want to support that, hit that subscribe button, give this video a like. And if you stuck around till the end, drop a blue heart in the damn comments. Until next time, I'll see you soon.